An international news broadcast reveals footage of an experimental disaster unlike anything seen before. A massive electromagnetic pulse sweeps through Hobart, a coastal city in eastern Tasmania, killing a huge portion of its roughly 500,000 residents. Experts explain that the pulse is so powerful it directly damages the human brain, leaving almost no chance of survival. Despite that, a physiotherapist named Eva heads straight toward the disaster zone without hesitation. Her husband Mitch was working in Hobart and is now listed among the missing. Even if he is already gone, Eva feels she has to find him herself, no matter what the truth turns out to be. Something about the government response feels off. Not long after the incident, the entire island is placed under strict lockdown. Journalists are kept out, and even the families of the victims are not allowed anywhere near the area. Eva tries every possible way to get in until she finally secures access as a body recovery volunteer. She is not alone. Many others do the same, all hoping to find some trace of the loved ones they lost. Eva wants to head south immediately to the area where her husband worked, but a soldier explains that the fires there are still burning and the zone remains completely sealed. With no other choice, Eva stays where she is, anxiously waiting while continuing to recover bodies. During a briefing, the military officer leading the operation drops a disturbing revelation. Some victims are showing unexplained abnormalities. A few have even come back to life without warning. Panic spreads among the volunteers. The officer quickly reassures them that the undead move slowly and show no aggressive behavior. Armed soldiers are guarding every road, and any bodies that appear to reanimate are to be reported immediately so the military can handle it. Eva turns pale at the news, but thoughts of her husband push her to suppress her fear and keep going. And this is where the recovery effort truly begins. This is We Bury the Dead. After receiving their gear and instructions, Eva and the other volunteers board a bus headed for the quarantine zone. They work in pairs, going house to house, collecting the dead along the streets. Inside one home, Eva carefully walks through dark hallways and discovers the bodies of a family of 3 behind a curtain. Death came so suddenly they never even had time to turn off the running water. The sight is overwhelming. Eva's first partner cannot handle the emotional weight and decides to quit the operation altogether. Later, as Eva sits by the roadside, she sees another volunteer stumble out of a house, barely holding back his vomit. Behind him is his partner, Klay, who looks strangely calm, as if this kind of work no longer affects him. Realizing his partner is done, Klay asks Eva to help him carry out the body of an elderly man from the house. With her own partner gone and Klay's partner also leaving, Eva decides to team up with Klay. As they work together, Klay seems unfazed by the situation. The sight of death does not disturb him. He treats it like routine, making light conversation and casual jokes. Slowly, Eva begins to adapt under his influence. She realizes that the most terrifying part of this job is not the condition of the bodies, but the possibility of recognizing someone you love among them. When Eva notices a wedding photo hanging on the wall of one house, her thoughts drift back to the happy moments she once shared with her husband. As they step into a baby supply store, Eva is suddenly reminded of the moment she took a pregnancy test and saw the negative result. Back then, the disappointment hit her hard, but her husband never stopped supporting her or lifting her spirits. As Eva and Klay move deeper into the store, a sudden scream echoes from outside. A volunteer runs into the street and lights a flare, signaling danger after spotting the undead. Soldiers arrive moments later and gunfire soon follows. Eva ducks into a nearby workshop. As she sweeps her flashlight across the floor, she notices dark stains of blood. Her heart starts racing when she spots an undead figure standing behind a rack of tools. Klay reacts calmly, lighting a flare without hesitation.
Klay.
Righto.
Soon after, gunshots ring out once again. An uneasy sense of loss settles over Eva. She feels that the undead still deserve to be treated as human, not destroyed without mercy. The cold and emotionless way the military handles them only strengthens her urgency to find her husband. Unfortunately, their assigned area is at the far northern end of the island, miles away from where her husband worked in the south. Eva plans to quietly leave the group during curfew, but instead runs into a patrolling officer. She claims she just needs some fresh air, but the officer sends her off to a bar to relax with the other volunteers. There, Eva finds Klay sitting alone and finally opens up to him. She explains that the undead they encountered showed no signs of aggression, almost as if some human awareness remained. After thinking it through, Eva admits her true intention and asks Klay to help her sneak into the southern quarantine zone to search for her husband. To her surprise, Klay agrees. At dawn the next morning, Klay pries open the door of a closed repair shop, marking the start of their dangerous journey into the forbidden southern region. He lights up when he spots a dirt bike inside. The distance they need to cover is too great to manage on foot. While they focus on planning their route, they fail to notice a purple-haired woman lying on the workshop floor. Her eyes slowly open, and without a sound, she suddenly stands up. At the same moment, Eva hears movement and raises her flashlight. The beam reveals the woman's jaw twitching, her teeth clicking softly. Realizing the danger, Klay urges Eva to back away, and they quickly push the motorcycle out of the shop. Soon they are speeding down the highway. Abandoned vehicles clog the road, but the bike allows them to slip through, drawing them closer to the southern quarantine zone. Just as Eva begins to relax, Klay slams on the brakes. A military patrol car blocks the road ahead. They immediately hide behind a wrecked vehicle and wait until the patrol moves on. As Eva glances to the side, she sees an undead figure shambling toward them. A gunshot rings out before it can get close. The soldiers have already taken action. Eva and Klay avoid detection, but they know better than to linger. They start the bike again and continue their journey south. As they move closer to the southern quarantine zone, the smoke in the air grows thicker, making it harder to see ahead, while fires continue to spread across the land. From the hills in the distance, the view feels like the end of the world. Klay pushes the throttle harder, and they finally cross into the part of the southern zone that suffered the worst damage. Before night fully falls, they find an empty building and decide to rest there for the night. They barely have time to settle when a large undead creature bursts inside. At first, Klay does not react much until the creature suddenly turns violent and lunges forward, ready to attack. At that exact moment, gunshots ring out, and a soldier named Riley appears at the doorway. Riley warns them that the closer they get to the center of the disaster, the more brutal and uncontrollable the undead become. After realizing that Eva and Klay entered the restricted zone without permission, Riley insists on questioning them separately and locks Eva inside a bathroom. Not long after, he returns and tells Eva that Klay has abandoned her and escaped on his own. Doubt creeps into Eva's mind, but when Riley offers to help her search for her husband, she gathers her courage and agrees to leave with him. Eva wants to head straight to the site where her husband worked, but Riley insists on stopping by his house first to gather supplies. With the sky growing darker, Eva has no choice but to go along. Riley seems unusually enthusiastic about having Eva there. He even prepares dinner for her, despite her having no appetite at all. Riley then explains that when the disaster struck, he was on duty and survived, while his pregnant wife died on the spot. Hearing this, Eva's eyes fill with tears as she realizes how many happy families were destroyed in an instant. While Eva is still lost in her grief, Riley suddenly makes a strange request. He wants Eva to wear his late wife's clothes and dance with him. Both of them have lost someone they loved, and Eva finds herself unable to refuse. As soft music plays, they hold each other closely. Eva's thoughts drift to the sweet memories she shared with her husband, while Riley fully begins to see Eva as a replacement for his wife.
You said something.
I love you.
When the music ends, Riley notices that Eva is not wearing the wedding ring he prepared. His expression quickly turns to anger, accusing her of ruining the moment. Eva tries to explain that she is already wearing her own wedding ring and refuses to take it off. Riley refuses to listen and moves to attack her. Eva reacts quickly, fighting back before running into the next room and locking the door behind her. Inside, she discovers the body of a woman lying on the bed, her stomach swollen and unmistakably pregnant. It is the corpse of Riley's wife. Terror floods Eva, and without hesitation, she jumps out of the house through a window. Riley does not give up. Eva runs in panic and hides inside a nearby warehouse. As she sweeps her flashlight around, she sees a group of undead chained with iron in the corner of the room. She clamps her hand over her mouth to stop herself from screaming, while the sound of Riley's footsteps grows closer. In the middle of her panic, a sudden idea forms. Eva removes her wedding ring and steps into view, imitating the voice of Riley's wife.
Sweetie, I can't find my ring. Did you see it?
Riley, already unstable, is completely deceived. In his grief, he reveals that he has captured countless undead for experiments, all driven by the hope that his wife might one day be brought back. Eva pretends to comply when Riley calls her out, and as his guard drops, he pulls her into an embrace. In a swift motion, Eva draws the blade she's been hiding all along. Riley's eyes fill with shock and disbelief as she strikes him. He staggers back and collapses, struggling for breath. Ava does not look back. She takes the car keys from his body and rushes toward the vehicle. Just before leaving, she sees something that makes her blood run cold. Riley's pregnant wife, Katie, is alive again. Fighting down her fear, Ava slams the accelerator and flees as fast as she can. The next morning, Ava wakes up in the driver's seat. The road ahead is blocked by wreckage and abandoned vehicles, forcing her to continue on foot. She never looks back and keeps moving forward. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echo behind her. When she turns, an undead creature charges straight at her. Reacting on instinct, Eva slips into an overturned bus. Using the creature's limited movement against it, she lifts a heavy object and strikes with all her strength. Once it stops moving, Eva takes a large axe and presses on. Eventually, she reaches a spot less than 6 miles from where her husband was last known to be. For the night, she finds an abandoned RV. Inside, a photo of a family of 4 hangs on the wall. Without realizing it, night falls. As Eva rests, a strange sound comes from outside. She steps out quietly and sees an undead figure struggling to dig a hole. The creature notices Ava but shows no sign of aggression. Instead, it carefully lifts the bodies of its family and places them into the ground. Ava recognizes the undead as the owner of the RV and instinctively steps forward to help. When the work is done, the undead willingly climbs into the grave. It glances at Eva one last time, and she understands. Eva buries him together with his family. By midday the next day, Eva finally arrives at the hotel where her husband once stayed. After such a long journey without finding a single survivor, she has already prepared herself for the worst. She walks slowly down the hallway until she reaches his room and pushes the door open. Just as she expected, a body lies beside the bed. Eva holds back her grief and sits in silence in front of her husband's remains. Tears still fill her eyes when she notices his fingers are bare. Their wedding rings sit side by side on the bathroom sink. On the table, there is an ID belonging to another woman. Memories of their last meeting rush back. Ava once asked to move there with her husband, but he refused without explanation. Now the reason becomes clear. He had fallen in love with someone else and betrayed her. Ava no longer knows whether she should feel heartbroken or relieved. After surviving so much danger to uncover the truth, all she finds waiting for her is her husband's betrayal. Footsteps suddenly echo from behind, and the figure that appears is Klay, the partner who was said to have run away. In truth, he was worried about Eva and chose to follow her. Both of them, carrying their own wounds, sit by the sea and finally release the weight they have been holding inside. Eva reflects on the intense argument she had with her husband before he left for his business trip to Hobart. She admits she wanted to save her marriage while Klay shares his desire to prove to his family that he is not a failure. That night, they stay at the hotel together, finding brief moments of relief while fending off the undead that wander too close. When Eva wakes up the next morning, she feels as if a heavy burden has been lifted from her heart. She returns to her husband's room and slowly removes her wedding ring. It is a final farewell to the marriage and a quiet reconciliation with her past. With Klay's help, Ava carries her husband's body onto a small yacht and lets it drift away with the current, granting him a peaceful release. After everything is done, Ava and Klay drive back toward the northern base. Along the way, they encounter a blonde undead woman. Ava instantly recognizes her as Katie, Riley's wife, though her pregnancy is no longer visible. Seeing her in that state leaves Eva with an uneasy feeling. As Katie turns and walks away, Eva suddenly runs toward a nearby pile of rubble, following the direction Katie had indicated. There she discovers a newborn baby lying among the debris. Eva and Klay stare in shock. When Eva gently lifts the infant, she sees no signs of radiation exposure or the lifeless traits of the undead. The baby appears healthy, just like any normal newborn, offering a quiet glimmer of hope in a broken world. So the moral of the story is never chase closure during a zombie apocalypse, because you might survive monsters, the military, and trauma, only to find out your husband was cheating the whole time.